Hi, I'm BC Rieger, and it's August 4th, and I'm doing a quantum porch sitting, except I'm not on the porch. And as I was walking around today and connecting with all sorts of things, watching the different birds and hummingbirds coming to see me, I was nudged to play with um, going inside, but going inside from a noticing of what's around you as a reflection, as as reflecting back light, reflecting back information, reflecting back a vignette or a moment or a wave of vibration, a frequency, flow stream, slipstream, a reflection of an energetic or maybe showing that you're crossing from one energetic to another. And as a way to thoroughly enjoy yourself in that moment. So when you look around, um, like you could use what the camera's pointing at. Um, what do you notice? What do you then see with not just your eyes, but all of your sensory array, all of you, the multidimensional kick-ass creator being that you are? What do you see? You could elaborate and say see, sense, and feel. You could say what do you feel into? What is your telemetry tell you picking up? And the reason that I start with noticing is because um, that's an awareness, a self awareness, a self connection. It's like being able to hear the chimes in the background or how the wind sings. There's a little bit of a breeze going on right now, and how it sings a different song depending on which direction that you're listening to, what trees, what foliage, whether it's grass or different species of trees, different kinds of perennials. The song is different in the wind. It makes a different song. It makes a different vibration. It tells a different story. If you look at the way that the light reflects and refracts and shines through or glances off different flowers, different foliage, those are all things. So noticing that first is a place where you're tuning into yourself, all of your sensory array, all of your multidimensional equipment, stepping out of the external. So the rush to do something, or the nothing's happening, or there's too much happening, or life is frustrating or scary or super exciting, or whatever those are, and bring all of you fully to bear, fully engaged in your you-ness, and then in that connection where there's this beautiful, seamless connection of you and all that is. And then as you are in that moment, and you may just start to play with it for a moment here and a moment there, and you may stretch those moments longer, or you may predominantly play with it all the time, moving from vignette to vignette, moment to moment, and then just occasionally kind of be pulled out of it because something at work or some distortion comes up or a distraction or whatever it is. And when we're playing with that, when we're being and doing that, and yes, being is active in that sense, even if you may not be moving at all or thinking at all, but you're actively engaged with, in connection with being. You could take it from the simplest to your automatic bodily responses and workings are moving, so you're breathing without having to think to breathe, but you could then feel into that which is already happening and breathe on a much more expansive, much more connected, much more all encompassing level and frequency. Again, as you look at colors in a particular flower, that hydrangea or the clematis dark there, it's not the right time of day. Hummies, I don't think will come visit right now because they're out in the sunny part over there um, with lots of other flowers to see. Give you a quick spin. That's just a little bit of view of some of the other flowers that I've planted for them. So, what do you notice? What do you see? And just as something to play with, just as a mechanism to walk through the world in a different way, to connect with you in a different way, a more expansive way. Um, in addition to, or beyond that, however you want to say it, some people say, well, flowers are pretty, or the trees are pretty, or oh, gosh, I didn't notice that, but there's so much going on, or I have, I have to work, or there's so many changes going on within me. This is one of many ways, but this is one way to help you with all of that. And most deliciously, to help you to get on to the fun stuff, to focus on the fun stuff, to draw the fun stuff, whatever that is for you, to you. The good stuff, the expansive stuff, the delicious stuff, the new earth stuff, the new ways of being and doing things, the new superpowers, the new enjoyment, the new excitement, the new abundance, the new clarity, the new whatever, or the more of if you've already been playing with this for a while. Because it finely tunes all of your bodies. So not just your physical body, but mental, emotional, electromagnetic, etheric, spiritual, your cosmic, galactic, Christ consciousness, all of those things. And it makes them all an integrated tool, an integrated fun toy box to play in. So it makes the things that you have to do, or you committed to do, or that are hard to do, or you wish you didn't quite have to do, easier and more effective and more valuable to you and to whoever else that you may be doing them for. It makes things that are a trial or tribulation or a journey or a rough patch or a revealing or you know, kind of how you engage with the outside world, um, more flow and gives you a bigger picture. Um, for me, what I love to use it for is in just a vignette, just a moment where I'm connecting, where I'm being, where I'm noticing, and look at something. Not only the colors, but the color gives off its own frequency vibration. And it gives off its own language above and beyond just that particular plant or that the color from that particular flower or maybe butterflies or a bee or hummingbirds, whatever, they're interacting and me interacting. Um, but it's another being. It's another cohesive structure of consciousness and frequency. Yes, different from where I may be, different from another being, different from Keegan. Rose is over there, different from that, but yet connected in a way. And there is, in that seeing, we can pick up and start to understand, start to grok, start to um, integrate and be informed by the information, the data that is transmitted by the light, that it's transmitted by the frequency of that. And it's like reading or conversing or experiencing or traveling. It's actually kind of all of those things in huge ways that we hadn't until that moment. And that connection and that interaction realized even existed. And you can do it with anything. It could be Keegan, it could be Kiki. Sorry, that was for Barbara. um, you could do it with all sorts of things, and the choice is yours and what you're drawn to, what calls to you, what you call forth to show you with other beings, other people you just met, other friends, other acquaintances, however it works. Um, I guess it's really part of a quantum toolbox and a time to that's really helpful to start to play with this because it it bridges that gap, it strengthens those muscles, it's like a tool to envision all that's possible, all that is potentiality. So the no thingness, we can look at something already in form and see reflected in that the vastness of nothingness, the vastness of purely uh, undividuated potentiality, and from that we can pull things and create it. It's a sandbox to play in to let us experiment. Do you remember either you being as a kid on the beach or in a big sand lot, or watching your own kids or a friend's kids, and the endless possibilities just from watching how the sand might trickle over a little mound of big amount of sand, or dribble castles at the beach, or noticing all of the blades of grass, and maybe you were looking for different three-leaf clovers, or four-leaf clovers, five-leaf clovers. It's different for everyone, but it's this reconnection with this play. It's this reconnection with, well, everything is a simple way to describe it, because through all of what's going on in the false construct and all of the programming and conditioning, we've disconnected. We have had distortion um, given to us, put upon us, taken on by us, and perpetrated by us, perpetuated by us, promulgated by us. Um, and so if you choose, now is the most delicious time to quit doing it. it's What's next? What do you want to be next? What do you create? What do you notice? And from that, want to play with new things. What do you notice? And that reflects back to you a realization of things you haven't noticed ever or in a long time, or you don't play with anymore, or you stopped doing, or you stopped dreaming, or you stopped imagining and envisaging what you could create, what you could call forth, what you could connect with and intersect with. Because we can't bring it to us. We can't be with it. We can't be in it. We can't evolve to that wondrous new stage or encounter or adventure or even just a little testing of something if we're not open to it, if we're not seeing and noticing it and bringing our full sensory array online and wielding it in a way that's so masterful and so magnificent, even more so than our ability to do it before we came to this planet in this embodiment. So you are so much more advanced and tuned in and capable and have so many other facets in your sensory array and superpowers in your superpower toolbox, toolkit, toy chest than when you came to this planet. So much more. But you may not realize it. Perhaps you haven't played with it. Perhaps you haven't noticed. Perhaps you haven't stopped for a moment to look at the reflections being cast back at you of wonder and beauty and just incredible, sublimely delicious skills and knowledge and information, and the list of descriptors is endless. So on this day, on this beautiful day, for you, wherever it is, whatever's unfolding, as you meet this conversation, what do you notice? What do you see with all of you? What's reflected back from that into your knowingness, into your heart? And what does your heart reflect back out? What is your heart in its, because it's incredibly powerful, the frequency, the energetic, the creator powerness of your high heart. What is it better, far better than a 5D printer? What is it materialize back for you? And in that play, in that noticing, there's a discovery. There's a re-alivening or an alivening much beyond where you were, as I said, because you're far different, far more expansive, far more conscious and evolved and cool with the tools and the play that you have than when you came to the planet. And when you came to the planet, you weren't missing anything. That's pretty cool, isn't it? So when you came to the planet, you weren't small and you weren't missing anything. And now you're more expansive and more awake and more aware and more cosmically delicious and beautiful than when you got here. That's something to notice and to play. I love you.